Have you ever wondered what you would do if you became rich overnight? Not a little richer, not a promotion, not a better job. I mean the kind of wealth that completely changes your life. Would you stay the same person? Would you keep the promises you make today? Or would those promises quietly disappear? Today's story is about a poor boy named Ashok, a boy who spent years dreaming about wealth. Not for luxury, not for fame, but because he believed that if he ever became rich, he could finally help the poor people around him. Then one day, life gave him exactly what he wanted. But getting what he wanted turned out to be only the beginning of the story. So let's begin. Ashok grew up in a small village where poverty was everywhere. On his way to work, he saw children selling flowers instead of going to school. He saw old people struggling to afford medicine. He saw families living in houses that looked ready to collapse during the next storm. Every time he saw these things, he would say, "If I ever become rich, I will help people like them." His friends admired him, his neighbors respected him, and honestly, Ashok meant every word. At least he thought he did. Years passed. He remained poor, but his dream never changed. Then one ordinary day, something happened that nobody expected. Ashok bought a lottery ticket, just one. He didn't think much about it. A week later, while working, his phone rang.
Congratulations.
At first, he thought it was a prank. Then he checked the numbers. Then he checked them again and again. His hands began shaking. He had won not a small prize, the jackpot. Enough money to change his life forever. The village celebrated. People crowded around his house. Friends congratulated him. His mother cried with happiness. And Ashok felt something he had never felt before.
We did it! Thank you all so much!
Now he could finally do all the things he had dreamed about. And for a while, he did. He paid for medical treatments. He helped repair damaged homes. He sponsored children's education. He donated food to struggling families. People praised him. "See," they said. Ashok never forgot where he came from. Hearing those words made him happy, very happy. But as the years passed, something slowly began to change. Ashok started new businesses. His wealth grew, then it grew again. Soon he owned luxury cars, expensive houses, and investments across the region. The more he gained, the more he worried about losing it. And the more he worried about losing it, the harder it became to give it away. At first, the change was almost invisible. A request for help here, a refusal there, a promise to help later. Then another. Eventually, people noticed. The same Ashok who once rushed to help others now always seemed too busy, too occupied, too distracted. One day, an old man from his village came to visit him. His granddaughter was seriously ill. The family couldn't afford treatment. The amount they needed was tiny compared to Ashok's fortune. The old man explained everything and waited hopefully. Ashok listened, then he politely refused. The old man's face fell. For a few seconds, Neither spoke. Then the old man quietly stood up and left. That night, Ashok couldn't stop thinking about him, but instead of helping, he pushed the thought away, and life continued. Years later, weather experts began to warning about severe flooding. The river near Ashok's largest investments was rising. People were concerned. Ashok wasn't. He had survived too much to worry about a little rain. Then the storm arrived. And it was unlike anything anyone had seen before. Rain fell for days. The river burst its banks. Floodwaters swept through entire regions. Roads disappeared. Buildings collapsed. Businesses were destroyed. Several of Ashok's warehouses, factories, and investments stood directly in the path of disaster. One after another, they were wiped out. The losses were enormous. But the flood was only the beginning. Investors pulled out, projects failed, debt piled up, businesses closed. But what the storm didn't destroy is financial panic. Within 2 hours, most of Ashok's fortune had vanished. The wealth he had spent years building disappeared. One evening, Ashok sat alone in a small apartment. No mansion, no luxury cars, no business empire, just silence. For the first time in years, he thought about the promises he had made when he was young. The promises he had made to himself, the promises he had made to others, and he asked about himself a painful question. When did I stop caring? He thought wealth had changed him. But the more he reflected, the more he realized something else. Wealth hadn't changed him overnight. It had changed him little by little. One small compromise at a time, one excuse at a time, one delay at a time, until the person he wanted to be slowly disappeared. Not because he became evil, but because comfort became more important than purpose. A few weeks later, Ashok returned to his old village. The same roads, the same people, the same struggles. As he walked through the village, he realized something he had never understood before. When he was poor, helping others was a dream. When he became rich, helping others became a choice. And choices reveal what dreams cannot. Because it is easy to imagine yourself being generous, easy to imagine yourself being kind, easy to imagine yourself changing the world. But character is revealed when those opportunities actually arrive. So, what is the lesson of Ashok's story? Many people say, when I have more money, I will help others. When I have more time, I'll do good. When life becomes easier, I'll become the person I want to be. But life doesn't simply test our resources, it tests our priorities. Ashok spent years believing wealth would allow him to fulfill his purpose. Instead, wealth revealed how easily purpose can be forgotten. The tragedy wasn't that he lost his fortune. The tragedy was that, somewhere along the way, he lost sight of why he wanted it in the first place. And perhaps that's a lesson for all of us. Because the question isn't what you will do when life gives you everything you want. The real question is whether you will remember who you wanted to be when that day finally arrives. My dear viewers, from this story we can learn lots of things in terms of various perspectives. But the fundamental lesson that we should learn is sincerity. Don't think that when you have got resources, then you will become the person instantly. But reality is much different than you think. Because there may be something wrong with your intention if you don't know your intention inside out. Therefore, review your intention every single time. Ask yourself, do I really want to do it for the things I'm feeling right now? Do I literally want this, or is there any hidden intention that I'm being ignored? Ask yourself, is there any other reason that I'm doing it for? Consider it deeply. Your nerves leap loose every time when your nerve speaks. Reflect on it. There has been a greatest man in history named Abu Bakr. He was known for his honesty, trueness, and sincerity. He never tells lie. That's why he was sincere. Due to this, our Prophet, peace be upon him, named him Al-Siddiq, the man of truth. The boy of this story didn't do what he thought, because implementing in real life has nothing to do with him. All was about being admired by people. So, review your intention before doing anything. Ask yourself, what is it for? Hope you like this story. If you think this story made you think differently, then stay with us by subscribing our channel. That's it for now. See you next time.